Today, we will be talking about the spookiest plants known to mankind. So buckle up and maybe turn on a light if you're easily scared. The first spooky plant we will be talking about today is none other than dodder, or Cascada species. It's also known as strangleweed, angel's hair, witch's hair, devil's hair, but I like to call it a vampire. Dodder is a leafless parasitic plant that is actually part of the morning glory family. They have no chlorophyll and they get their nutrients from basically sucking the life out of other plants. When a dodder seed germinates, it will send down an anchoring root and then send all of its energy into a string-like shoot that will travel in a circular motion until it finds a suitable host plant. And once it has been attached and starts feeding off of its host plant, the roots actually rot away. Once it finds a suitable host plant, it will attach its root-like structures called haustoria to suck out the nutrients and water from the host plant. This will oftentimes weaken the host plant, reduce crop yields, and sometimes even kill it. The next spooky plant we will be talking about is none other than the corpse flower, or the Titan arum. The scientific name for this is Amorphophallus titanium, and I have had the pleasure on multiple occasions to smell this wretched flower. The corpse flower can stand at a towering 10 feet tall and takes about 7 to 10 years to initially bloom. After its first bloom, it can bloom every 2 to 10 years depending on the cultivar. However, the bloom only lasts 12 to 48 hours. So the time period for which you can go and see this horrible smelling plant is very small. When I heard about this plant, I thought, oh, it probably smells like farts or something and it doesn't smell that bad. But no. It literally smells like rotting flesh. I mean, I don't really know what rotting flesh smells like, but I assume that that is what it smells like. It was horrible. The school that I went to study horticulture has their very own Amorphophallus titanium, which is nicknamed Stinky Phil, and I had the pleasure of smelling it when it was blooming. I have also smelled the one at the DC Botanical Gardens, and both of them smelled absolutely terrible. Now you might ask, why would a plant smell that bad? What is the reason behind it? When the Amorphophallus titanium is blooming and it brings out that rotting flesh smell, it also stays around the temperature of a human body and therefore attracts all sorts of carcass-eating bugs that will come and pollinate it. It attracts carrion beetles and flies of all sorts. Chemical analysis of the flower shows that it has the same chemicals that are responsible for the stinky smells in Limburger cheese, feces, rotting fish, and sweaty socks. So it's very pleasant. If you had the chance, would you smell the corpse flower? I would smell it again for sure. It's disgusting, but it's also quite amazing what nature can do. The next scary plant on my list is one that you might come across while hiking, and you might think it's a fungus at first, but it's not. It's a plant, and it is called the ghost pipe or Indian pipe. The scientific name is Monotropa uniflora. This spooky plant is another one that lacks chlorophyll and therefore is this ghostly white translucent color. They are usually 4 to 8 inches tall and have 1 flower per stem. They can be found alone but are usually found in clumps. Since this parasitic plant lacks chlorophyll, it gains its energy from mycorrhizal fungi that are attached to the roots of beech trees. Not much else is spooky about this plant other than the look of it. This next spooky plant is one that might not look very threatening, as it has a very similar appearance to some flowers that you might find on the side of the road. However, I warn you, stay clear of this one. It is the giant hogweed, also known as Heracleum Heracleum mantagasianum. Heracleum mantagasianum. You got that? You can identify this plant from others by its size. It can grow up to 14 feet tall and have flowers that span about 2.5 feet. If you are so unlucky to come across the giant hogweed, I beg you, please keep your distance. This unassuming plant can cause severe burns and permanent scarring if you happen to just brush against it. There have been reports that it can even cause blindness. Once it comes in contact with your skin, it prevents your skin from being able to protect itself from UV rays, which can cause very painful blisters and sensitivity to sunlight for years, if not forever. Stay away from the giant hogweed. The next plant on the list is none other than the gimpy tree, also known as Dendrocnide moroides. This plant, although unassuming at first glance, has stinging hairs all over the plant's surface that, when touched, releases a neurotoxin. People have reported the sting being like hot acid, but electrocution at the same time. In 1866, a road surveyor from North Queensland, Australia, his horse was stung by this gimpy tree, and it is said that his horse died within 2 hours. There's also been folklore of horses being stung by this and being in so much pain that they jump off cliffs to end their suffering. Strangely enough, if the stinging hairs are taken off of this plant, the fruit is completely edible to humans. Talk about forbidden fruit. Would you try it? It has been said that this plant has been investigated as a potential biological weapon to be used in war, but I truly hope that we never find out if this is truth or fiction. Are you spooked yet? The next plant on this list is the doll's eye plant, or white baneberry. The scientific name is Actaea pachypoda. The striking visual interest of this plant makes it a common garden plant for people who like the weird and the bizarre. Not only do these creepy plants look like eyeballs that follow you wherever you go, but they're also poisonous to all animals, except for birds. When these berries are consumed, they cause gastrointestinal distress, cardiac abnormalities, and even death. They just remind me of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, when the birds chew out the eyeballs of the people. Since birds like the white baneberry or doll's eyes, maybe they were just looking for a snack that they like and they know they like. But most likely they just wanted to eat human eyeballs. The next plant that we're talking about is a beautiful tree known as the dragon's blood tree, or the Dracaena cinnabar. This unique looking tree is native to Yemen and only has leaves at the very tips of its branches. It is quite a striking, beautiful tree, but besides the unique look of this tree, its most standout feature is the color of its sap, blood red. This tree bleeds crimson, just like you and me. Although it might remind you of a couple slasher movies, the resin and sap is actually used for many medicinal purposes. That's it for the spooky plants that I have today. However, I do have a couple honorable mentions that are not plants, but fungi. Now, there are 1,000,001 different fungi that are creepy as hell, but 2 of these really screamed Halloween to me. And the first one is the bleeding tooth fungus, Hydnellum peckii. It has this pale flesh and deep pores that ooze this blood red substance. And if you flip it over on the other side, it has these nasty looking spines. It is truly something from the depths of hell, for sure. Despite its dangerous appearance, it is not harmful, and some even think that it has medicinal properties. But always don't go eating wild mushrooms unless you know what you're looking for and that it is edible. The next honorable mention fungus is the dead man's finger fungus, Xylaria polymorpha. People have found these in the woods and thought that maybe they have discovered a body, but really it's just a fungus. They're commonly found near beechwood stumps. It can look like black, decaying, arthritic fingers clawing their way back out from their muddy grave. This concludes my top spooky plants and a couple fungi just for fun. There's so many different plants in this world, and each one of them has distinctive properties. Which of these plants spooked you out the most? For me, I feel like it might be the gimpy tree. To come in contact with that just sounds agonizing. Fauna, you want some treats?
Yeah.
Come here. Come here. You gonna join the party? We have a visitor. Which of the plants did you think were the spookiest? Have you seen any of these plants in real life? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, let me know. If you want to see some more plants kind of related content, I'd be happy to do it because I love learning about plants. It's my passion. I just love plants so much. This ferocious beast, though, I think is scarier than anything I talked about tonight. Fauna, I will protect you from these scary plants. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd like to give a shout out to all of the people that I messaged on Instagram who let me use their beautiful photos of these spooky plants and fungi. Go ahead and follow me on Instasham and check out my Etsy page. Thanks for listening. I hope you learned something new today. Happy All Hallows Eve. Be safe out there and stay hydrated, homies.